I hope you've been well. Um, I hope that the 8-8 portal ushered you in to likely not ease, to be honest. This has been a very tough season for quite a few of us, admittedly. And yeah, I've been pretty inconsistent with this work. So it's very clearly been tough for me as well, but it hasn't been it has honestly, all right. I felt called to come onto this live and begin with relaying my personal experiences and lessons because I feel as well as though everybody's lessons are very tailored to, they're extremely tailored to them. It feels as well that collectively it doesn't feel like there's one specific way that this retrograde and this 8-8 portal has been going for everyone, but it has felt as though the common theme between everyone, and I think I've mentioned this in previous readings, that the common theme between all of us is growth, evolution, some certain level of discomfort that comes with that, and a newness, even if it is that we are repeating old cycles, whatever may be happening in each of our personal lives that is extremely unique to the specific circumstance that's occurring, so that we truly have had no choice thus far but to rely on whatever we can source from our presence and from the moment that we are experiencing whatever it is that we may be experiencing. Very sorry again about the signal. Yeah. I'm tired of apologizing for it, and there's really nothing I can do. So, by my personal experience, I've learned this has been a lesson in cycles throughout this whole year. The fact that, or how finely I am in control of the reality that I experience, not just my reality, but the reality, the thing that I see with my eyes and feel with my heart and hear with my ears and smell with my nose, all of those senses are under the control of how I choose to perceive them. And up until I would say up until maybe earlier this year, just before I cut down on my escapism habits, I was functioning very mechanically from my mind. And I've been doing a lot of really intense, really painful work of trying to function from my heart space instead. And what this 8-8 portal has brought me the gift of is the actual lived experience of the benefits of living from your heart space versus living from your head space, as I was taught would be better to do as a child. The reprogramming has been extremely hectic. And I get the sense that this is something that's a common theme that we share amongst us all, is that we have been doing very deep programming, some of us beyond our knowing, beyond our control. I believe that things like processing grief is a programming that we are working through. It's a recollaboration, a tap, tap, tap on the keyboard. Same thing. I believe that trying to manifest is a process of programming. And essentially what these portals do, these 8-8s and 12-12s and etc., I believe that these portals are the action or the performance of typing a programming, pressing enter, and then the program works. All the code is correct, and finally, the program that you've been working on for so long gives an output that is according to the code that you put in to the machine of life. according to the code, not so much according to what you want. Because again, as I've mentioned over and over in previous readings, what we want, how we action what we want, the gap between what we want and how we actually action in bringing in what we want. Hold on, baby. How we bring in what we want, that gap, I believe that gap is the code, actually. And that code or that gap isn't always going to go according to, what can I say? That gap is, I would say that part of that gap is lodged in our blind spots. And sorry, that moment that just happened kind of detoured me from what I was, from the intention, from the energy that I was building up behind what I was going to say. But essentially, what I'd wanted to bring to this reading was my personal experience, my interpretation of what these portals are, so that, okay, sorry. Thank you for giving me time. So this portal is the programming, is the output of the programs that we've coded. The output, again, isn't always going to look like what we may have imagined it to look like. It's like, wow, I've really lost the string of thought that I had. I really lost it. But I did want to bring the interpretation of what I think 8 of these portals are to the table, because I wanted to differentiate my intention from what the mainstream speaks of on these portals. This is also something that I saw via Twitter. A lot of people, now that 8-8 is so mainstream, Lionsgate is so mainstream, everybody's talking about how this was a huge opportunity for manifestation, blah, 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 blah. But this specific portal, this specific 8-8 portal wasn't so much that. It wasn't an opportunity to sit and try to manifest and bring in anything new in particular. We have been working on bringing in something new. We've been doing that work for a very long time. And I believe that I read for people who have been doing that work for so long that at the point that we reached with this 8-8 portal, we have been sitting and waiting for, it's like we're experiencing a kind of like a backlog in our manifestations. And for us to have approached this Lionsgate portal under the umbrella collective instruction that everybody else is receiving about manifesting in you and blah, 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 it didn't align with me personally. Because as I said, I'm no longer experiencing it in that way. It had to take a very intense shift in perspective to understand that I actually haven't been experiencing a backlog in the blessings and manifestations I wanted. They've been coming, they've been around me. They've been right there in front of me actually this entire time. Like I said, I just needed to shift my perspective, get into the coding of the way I was typing things and like figure out which letters and commas I was missing in which places. Take a step back from the screen altogether. This is speaking metaphorically. Take a step back from the coding process and just be in the moment and sit and breathe. For computer programmers, I come from a degree of studying computer science. So I'm speaking from experience when I say the process of typing a really long and intense code. You're sitting there, you're hunched, you're working with the computer for hours on end. You definitely will hit I guess this is the same as a writer's block for anyone who is an artist or a creative. You just hit this wall where if you continue looking at this work or trying to code any longer, you know there's nothing that's going to come of this. You need to take a break, go outside, take a walk, whatever. That was what this whole year honestly has been for me. It's just, go for a walk, hug a tree, touch grass. And so with that being my focus for a lot of this year, with focusing on on the sound of the stillness of my own inner peace and my own bliss, manifesting new things, setting new intentions, blah, blah, blah. Like honestly, I feel saturated with all of this, this set a new intention, new moon ritual, full moon ritual, 8-8 ritual, manifestation, da da da. I feel like I'm like, yeah, I use the word saturated. I'm over it. I'm over it. And I imagine that a lot of us, a lot of the people I read for who tune into my work, walked into this portal also feeling very much fucking over it. And now I continue this channeling, speaking to that frequency within all of us that is over it, that feels extremely flustered and exhausted. And we've spent so much time confused that at this point we're over the confusion. We're beyond, we're so tired. We've been so tired that we're tired of being tired. And now it's time to, I suppose, make do with what we've got for real. And I think in the action of making do with what we've got, we have to, hey Pearl, we have to invite that shift in perspective, which I believe is the root of what we are all being gifted with. It's just a perspective shift. It's not so much going to be an influx of actual incarnations of our manifestation, but our ability to see in more colors, basically, and experience in a greater range of feeling. And then from there, do the manifestation work. I feel called as well to remind you that the work of abundance manifestation that we are pulling in, that we are trying to do right now, is extremely long term. We are not, and I've said this in previous readings, we are not the type to manifest these short-term bursts of achievements and happiness and da-da-da-da. In fact, I've been witnessing everybody's achievements. And while, yes, it's incredible that everybody's getting their degrees and their assets, their cars, their I don't know, whatever else people mark as an achievement these days, which is an achievement, obviously, right? In this ridiculously fragile economy, it is obviously amazing to achieve material wealth of any kind that is important to you, whatever it may mean to you. But I've been observing all of this through other people, and I've felt this dull, kind of nagging that says, why, how is this worth anything? For example, and this will be the first time I think I'm verbalizing this, but I also just want to stand 10 toes on the fact that each achievement is personal, right? It's your own thing. It's to each their own. And standardly, it is very honorable to achieve what I'm about to speak on, right? But because I'm so set on rooting myself in reversing time a little bit and trying to see everything, all of life. And I think maybe this is a bit extreme. However, I feel this perspective is where I feel the most grounded. I've been trying to do the work of seeing all of life through the indigenous lens and trying to understand how and what life would be if we were way back in time, pre-colonialist type. And this is a lens I'm trying to achieve without actually doing any internet research. I'm purely working through my bloodline and ancestral work. just as a disclaimer. This obviously would be helpful if I did more research. However, I'm really going back to basics here, and I take the steps of doing research whenever I feel called. So the standard of achieving degrees, and this obviously it comes with my own personal relationship with institutions. That, as an example, has been something that every time I've witnessed of other people achieving, it's been great, but it feels so distant. Like I don't see myself being as, yes, I got this degree, as I see other people. And again, this is not to invalidate the experience of achieving a degree. That is huge. And it's huge for bloodlines of people. And I know on some level, if I weren't such a stubborn person, my ancestors would be very proud of me too, whenever it is that I decide to pursue it again. But it's just one of those things that for me, I see and I'm like, well, that's lovely, but is that life? Like, for real? Is that why we went through the magical process of being incarnated? It's okay, baby. It's okay. Is that why we've gone through the intensely magical spiritual process of being incarnated on earth so that we could come here, go through the absolutely mind-blowing physiological process of growing taller, growing more bones, losing teeth, growing teeth? Like, all of that is a mind-blowing process. Incredible. We defy so many things about what our logical brains know, about what the system can even grasp, about what science itself can explain. We as human beings defy so much. And then we come here and we live and we do our thing and we buy assets and we like sign papers and stuff to like get signatures on papers and things like that. And we hold these little scrolls and we're like, yes, this is my life. I love it. Your whole life is in that scroll. Your whole life is in the achievement of this thing. So yeah, I've been feeling very existential, but I've also achieved the calm to that existentialism, where I feel connected to my meaning. And I genuinely believe that this connection to the meaning, to source, to that thing that makes you feel less lonely, is what has been gifted to all of us in some level, either directly or through the tests that we have experienced through, more specifically, this Mercury retrograde season. It all generally just needs, I think, patience and a shift in perspective. That shift requires patience. It will happen on its own. It happened on its own with me. I had spent so much time forcing and thinking that it wasn't going to happen without my work, but I was already doing more than enough. More than enough. You couldn't imagine how much energetic work you have been putting into your process that you may think hasn't been doing anything just because you haven't seen any physical changes. I wish I knew which reading it was that I referenced this and preached on this idea, because then I'd be able to link it in the description. But please remember please remember the work of the unseen, how it will not yield the same kind of results that you may see other people experiencing. It's not tangible. This work that we are investing, that we have invested so much of our time in, is, again, very long-term, very otherworldly, very purely energetic. Something that it does not have enough research on. It does not have enough. So you cannot rely on the research and the science and the masculine, hard-edged reality of this world to validate your work. And honestly, you can't even get that validation from me. I try with these readings, and that's why I keep going with this as well. Outside of loving it, I love uplifting and reminding you that you are doing more than enough. But you have to believe it. And at this point, as far as we've come, it's really up to you now. Like, it's really, really up to you now. It's been this whole time, and it's becoming more and more of that. If you continue to be caught up in the victimhood wave, if you continue to feel, hey, synthesized souls, if you continue to feel if you continue to choose fear and the fact that you're powerless, and if you continue to choose narratives that involve you being unlucky or you being doomed to grief and to pain in a bad way, if you continue to choose that for yourself, then it will choose you back, and that is what you will work with for your life. You have to we have to start getting really passionate about about how we choose to live our lives. We have to start getting really effervescent, really just full with it, fill yourself up with your power, and with your knowing, with your faith, with your truth, with your authenticity, with your own self. Fill yourself up with it. Because the challenges that we have seen and experienced and felt through this year so far, they're not going to stop. And they don't just get easier. They get easier with your intention to overcome them. You have to believe that you will. You have to know that you will, because you will. It's just waiting for you to choose it. All you have to do is choose it. So, yeah, we have to take control of our perceptions, and we can start and end there. It doesn't have to be such a huge ordeal to follow to follow the desire of, to follow our desires, to follow our truth. It doesn't have to be a big ordeal. It doesn't have to be intense, not intense. It doesn't have to be complicated. We have complicated things enough. Are you not tired? Are you not over the complications? Isn't it enough now? Are you done feeling alone? Are you done believing that your dreams aren't going to come true? Are you done giving into the concept of whether or not you are deserving of your dreams coming true? Are you ready to understand that your dreams are yours? They're yours, So it is a given that they will come true. It's assumed. The minute you decide that you want something, all of reality immediately conspires to make it happen. The only thing that stops it from manifesting instantly are whatever blockages within you that believe they cannot happen instantly. We have to start bringing that shit home for real. And obviously, if you don't do it now, there'll be plenty of repeated opportunities to do it in the future, but don't expect it to get any easier if you insist on complicating everything. If you insist on being distrusting towards your reality and your universe and your God and the people that love you and your own power, if you insist on being distrusting towards your ability to overcome the problems that you face in your life, then there's nothing that the universe can do. You've locked God out. You have to be able to, you have to open the door and let God in, in whatever way that means, in whatever way that looks to you, because obviously that action is very personal. As a tropical Scorpio, my action of letting God in is really this has been very intense work. This is something that tropical Leos have down, and I love that about them. I used to hate that about them. But I have had to learn how to trust that people actually love me and they actually care about me, and they listen to me. They try to listen when I speak, and if they don't, then that's definitely not a signal that they hate me. That's not a signal that they're out for me. I've had to learn how people not having my best interest at heart isn't a poor reflection on them, but only on the fact that they just don't have my best interests at heart. But that does not make people evil. That does not make someone evil if they don't have my best interests. If they have their own best interests, then all good for them. And if I love them, then that's exactly what I want of somebody who I care about, to hold their own best interests at heart. Nobody is obligated to hold my best interests at heart but me. And I can't blame anyone for not doing that. And the minute I find myself blaming someone else for not having my best interests at heart, that's exactly because of the fact that I don't have my best interests at heart first. That is also something that's been a recurring theme that I tweeted about. A lot of people, and I think this is also a reflection of the major amounts of projection that are happening right now collectively. A lot of people are really, I'm still trying to find the understanding for this, but for some odd reason, it's really painful to realize that you manifest your reality. It's really hurtful to bump headfirst into the understanding that everything that you experience and all of your perceptions, they're all under your control, and it's been under your control, and life has essentially just been waiting for you to take that seriously and to exercise it for real, exercise your will. A lot of people have been projecting and been presenting to be very uncomfortable with that. Because I also think that our wills, and I've said this before, the gap between whatever our intention is and how our will actions out, that gap is becoming so tiny that it necessitates vulnerability, honesty, authenticity with the self, being truthful to the self. That gap is tiny enough for you to snitch on yourself. If you refuse to be true to yourself, your actions will be true for you, or your body will be true for you. Whatever reflects in your body, the illness will snitch on you. Whatever illness comes out in your body. Your emotions that are uncontrollable and up and down, they're going to snitch for you. It is medicine beyond compare to just show up in the moment and say, I'm feeling this way, or I don't feel good about this. I understand that, because I've been struggling with this as well. I'll feel a way, but my logical mind will try to intercept that feeling to say that's not a logical way to feel. And something it's been coming to, that I've been doing my whole life, that I've been taught how to handle, that I've been taught how to do, is to press that feeling immediately and be like, nope, stop feeling that because it's not logical, it's not rational, put it away. Absolutely not what I was meant to be doing. I was supposed to, with my logical mind, which honestly, my logical mind feels for me like my higher self. It's supposed to be my parent self. Is supposed to take that emotion, say, you are safe to feel this way. I understand exactly why it is that you feel that way. I get why you feel it. And again, this is something that I've had to repeat and make a new affirmation of mine. As long as you're not hurting yourself or causing harm to others, feel it all, babe. Feel away. Do your thing. Whatever it makes you feel like doing, do that. Whatever. Just do it. Whatever you want to do, just do it. So I'm not holding on so tightly to the habits of escapism that I'd wanted to be sober from. I'm no longer tight on that. And ironically enough, it actually has become a lot easier to be sober. So just a gentleness, practicing a real, new, extremely uncomfortable gentleness with the self that I'm realizing has been uncomfortable this whole time because I didn't think that I deserved it. But being deserving is, it's a false understanding. It's just something that I believe is, and I actually got this from somebody. I'll have to find the video and link it. Paraphrasing terribly because I don't remember when last I watched this video, but fetching it from this moment as well. The concept of being deserving is just a thing that it's a thing to create class. Creates it separates it causes a separation of the receiving of abundant energy. You won't think you're deserving if you know and understand that what you are deserving of is yours regardless of whatever. The concept of being deserving completely shatters when we face and remember life from the lens of the fact that we are abundant by birth, by existence, just by being, by our every breath, we are simply abundant. The concept of just being deserving is out the window. So yeah, had to work through that. Had to release that word altogether. It no longer helps to try to convince myself that I'm deserving. I just am. Period. Just let it stop there. But anyway, I feel like I've been rambling for long enough. I hope everybody's been well. Again, I can imagine that. I can imagine that this season has not been going. I imagine that there's a huge chunk of this season and this experience that has not been going to plan. Lots of things up in the air, uncertainty, confusion, but not in the sense that feels like. When I use the word confusion, I imagine it being an internal thing, but it feels like the term of confusion is more external, where it's like everything's hazy, or the people that you're experiencing things with they seem hazy themselves. It's just like everything's like, what? For real. And for me, when I see that, I've been using that as a reminder to trigger a response of, oh, well, can I change it? Yes, no? Okay, time to return within. I've been very within, extremely within. So much so that I'm struggling to come out of it. I thought that the coming of this new season would automatically invite the ability to get out of the hibernation phase and start connecting with the people I love again, start calling, messaging, whatever. But I have really not been in the mood for that. But again, have to remember that I am loved, always forgiven, and whoever's meant to be for me is for me, regardless of what it is that I do and don't do. So as I prepare these cards, I think that really the most I can ask for is for our angels to take the lead. Whatever it is that needs to be said, may it be said. But also emphasizing, still echoing the message from the last, I think, 2 readings that I've done. echoing and emphasizing the fact that there is nothing that will give you greater guidance during this time than your own inner truth, than whatever it is that you can source within yourself, minus any tarot readers, minus your own cards if you have them. Although my deck has been extremely useful in helping me understand the many stages that have been occurring during this retrograde and this 8-8 portal. I was talking to someone about how what I think is happening is that the and this also depends on what you believe in, right? But I believe in the whole idea of predestiny and how everything is already written. It's just a matter of us picking the journey that we choose to go down. And then we walk towards that destiny that is already written. It's already, I believe in the idea of how everything that is going to happen has already happened and is happening and has happened. It's like, yeah, the whole thing of like the future and the past is all happening right now, you know? And what's happening now is that the veil between all of those possible destinies, between every possible destiny that exists, the veil between all of them, completely gone. And we are being given slideshows, emotionally even. Our hearts are being given many different slideshows per second, billion, trillion frames per second of every possible destiny that we can live and play out. I think that this links to why we are also mood swingy. It links to the idea of projection that I had been saying is also connected to people's uncomfortability of how powerful they are over their lives, of their will, of all of our free wills. There is, there's lots going on in our energetic bodies. And again, I hope you can be gentle with yourself. I hope you can remember that you are doing a lot more work than can be worded, than can be researched, than can be discussed. Like there are no words. So let's see what the cards have to say about everything. Right. Okay. I don't think that I'm going to shuffle anymore after this. I think that what's fallen out is ample information. Okay. So we have the 7 of discs. We have the Chariot. And then we have the High Priestess in reverse. I just want to tap into the High Priestess in reverse because that is very, what a controversial energy. And I can't imagine where that might be coming from. I do think, however, though, that this 7 of discs, or rather not however, but like just to visit the other cards that fell out, the 7 of discs is, I believe, a visual representation of what's happening. These are the many different destinies that are possible. The pods. This is us lying and observing everything. This card, if I remember correctly, speaks of someone lying on this horizon, observing it all, but not entirely sure what to do with it. This state is either a state of inertia where you are so overwhelmed and maybe even like to a certain extent procrastinating, needing to do anything about it, or you simply aren't sure about what to do. The Chariot emphasizes the magic or the magic. It emphasizes the work of willpower and how yes, this is a card of success, but it's success because you did something. So I think that with these two cards falling out together, It's a reminder for us to, again, be patient with our process. Trust in the fact that shifts and actions will happen in their perfect time. I believe this card may also reference trusting in your body's ability to make decisions. So trust in the sudden feeling and inspiration you may receive from making a decision, carrying an action out. And trust that if you don't feel inspired to do something right now, then it's because it's simply not time to do it. The High Priestess in reverse speaks of creative blocks, right? Anger, frustration, and this card speaks of the same kind of like blockage. Denial of your potential and deepest feelings, leading to unhappiness, addiction, passive aggression, or self-directed violence. Lack of foresight and empathy. Inability to listen or take advice. Loss of spiritual connection. Lack of integrity. A parasite who will drain you, leading you into a psychic wilderness through its lack of substance and inner truth. And I think that last sentence specifically has to do with a card that I pulled in a previous reading that I'll link in this description, in which I pulled the devil. And I said that that is the figure that is kind of hovering over all of us right now. This card, from what I've just read, I believe has to do with the spiritual warfare that is happening to the whole lot of us right now. Through specifically the use of like constantly releasing like information, terrible news. There's always something going on. There's always some ridiculous drama that has honestly made me feel and return to the root of like, why do we even care about this collectively? There are people dying. There is a war happening that we're all just idly sitting back witnessing. We are seeing injustices of entire systems that we've relied on for millennia. Why do we care about... I'm even barely informed, so I couldn't even reference it, but I've seen sprayed conversations all over the Twitter timeline about things that really make me feel like, why do we care about this? Why on earth? Why do we care so much about stupid things? I believe that this also speaks of the exhaustion that I was tapping into earlier in this reading about how we are so beyond tired. We're so beyond tired, beyond confused. We've been doing it for such a long time. We're experiencing a kind of backlog and the manifestations, witnessing other people come into their manifestations and their true paths, but we're still sitting confused and not knowing what to do or how to move, where to next. I believe, again, like I'm saying, that there is a lot of work happening in unseen worlds and realms that have no words to describe them, that you will come out of whatever this phase is. This is the gift, right? This is the 8-8 portal gift. We are being given this sense of a feeling within ourselves. Again, like I said, not so much an external manifestation, but an internal sense of, okay, yes, I finally know what to do. It will come to you. Or, okay, yes, I finally understand what was causing this spiritual blockage. I finally understand why it is that I was feeling so far from myself or so far connected from God. We will receive the answers to all of those questions. And we have the 8 of Rods beneath the deck and the 1 of Cups and Judgment, right? So we have 3 major Arcana cards. Again, something that you'd know if you've been tuning into my work. When major Arcana cards fall out, I instantly take it as this is beyond you. This is beyond your human minds. This is beyond our little perceptions and beyond anything that we think we can control. These are the shifts. It's like all of these cards, all of these major Arcana cards falling out are like the action of what the wheel would symbolize if it fell out. I feel called to read on the 7 of Discs. So it speaks of a need for quiet observation before action, but also a need to check your underlying motivation, ensuring you aren't sabotaging your plans by a lack of action, becoming aware of the body's messages, working with it for self-knowledge, recognizing your limitations. And recognizing again your limitations in term, not so much in terms of what the limits are themselves, but about how much you can do and how much is washed in this loss of spiritual connection that you have with your God. I'm remembering the story of the rock. The one where God tells you to push a rock. The rock doesn't move. You get upset because the rock isn't moving. God returns to check in. You swear at God. God goes, you swear at God for telling you to move a rock that's not even moving. God says, who said that you needed to move the rock? I just told you to push. Yeah. Now look at what I'm doing. Now look at what I'm going to do as your God. And then whoosh, whooshes the rock out of the way. So it's that kind of thing. I also get the sense that this may be you on your own self regarding witnessing other people's manifestations and witnessing everything making sense for other people, and you're not so much feeling that. You may when you don't feel that, and you then go and something I've been practicing in my own capacity, because I obviously do feel intense frustration over this lack of spiritual connection when I do feel it, and over the confusion I have over my life, over not knowing what to do. I feel intense frustration over it very, very often. But I try to remind myself, I try to first base myself in the feeling, not so much deny it anymore, because that's where my logical mind would try to come in and say, that's irrational. You know that you have your own plan, everybody has their own personal journey. For me, though, affirming that over and over again, it didn't work for me, because it was still true that I felt upset about the fact that things weren't working out for me. Just because when I feel that upset, and I meet it with a voice that says, oh, you know better than to feel this, though, that's not helping me feel the feelings, because I still feel it. Yes, fine, on some logical level, I do know that everybody has their own personal path, but I'm feeling sad about my personal path right now. Like, I'm just feeling sad about it, period. Like, why does it have to go anywhere just because I know the higher mind of how to perceive this? My lower mind, my heart space, is still processing the emotions of really hating on my journey right now, you know? So give yourself space to feel this, to feel through this, to feel through the lack of a spiritual connection. Give yourself room. I said this as well in a previous channeled reading. Give yourself room to be angry, to be upset, to feel frustrated, and heartbroken. Give yourself room to grieve. Let yourself be a child a little, throw a tantrum at God. Do it. I think that after doing that and allowing the body's processes, to do its thing, allow your emotions and heart space to kind of empty out, it will be a very fast process to healing and to feeling anew, and to feeling a new connection with your universe and with your reality, feeling a newness that you are deserving of. That's been yours the entire time. Feeling of a sense of right. So beneath all of that, we had the Six of Cups, which I think speaks to that looking back at life and wishing that it could be different, or wondering if maybe you should have made different decisions, and that you'd be in a different place if you had made wiser decisions, or whatever, like blah, blah, blah. I've already read on that energy. And then the wheel. Then we have the wheel. So, very, very difficult task, but trust in the process and try to understand all of the ways in which you've already been gifted. You've been gifted beyond what a past version of you asked for. You won't be able to see it now because you're no longer that past version of yourself. So you obviously are asking for more, dreaming more, aiming higher, which is good in itself. It's brilliant that you are so evolved that you no longer resonate with what you used to want. Now you want more. That's amazing within itself. But please understand, you are always living in something a past version of yourself would have died for, like truly. Well, sorry, maybe that's dramatic because I'm a Scorpio. I'd die for anything. I mean, like a past version of yourself really wanted, you ripped yourself apart for some aspect of your reality you are experiencing right now. And it may not be huge. It likely won't be huge. We are on a very spiritual journey, you and I, extremely spiritual. So a lot of our gains are not going to be physical just yet. Not just yet, not quite. Because that's not what actually matters. That's not the real currency of this world. It's not about the assets and the money. It's about what all of that reflects within you. That is what we're working on. That power, the real power, not the money power, the assets power, the degree power, the educated power, actual energetic frequency power. What all of that represents, that is what we're working for here. And you've been gifted with it, this 8-8 portal, and through the work that we have done so far through this Mercury retrograde, this has been our gift. We basically have it already. You just need to sit with yourself a bit more. And it may even be in this frustration and in this lack of connection that you may be feeling with your life, with your faith, with your spirituality, in the challenges and the tests that you face through this retrograde. The gifts are there through processing this, obviously. If you don't see it, if you don't resonate with what I'm trying to say, if you don't hear it or feel it or understand it, then that's okay too, and allow yourself to process that, even that. Lots of internal processing happening right now. Lots of a need to be patient with ourselves and our stories. And our bodies that know the wisdom. I said this in a previous reading. How powerful and amazing it is. As I say it, as I'm about to mention death. How amazing, I see the death card. How amazing it is that our bodies know how to die. If our bodies know how to die, then they sure as fuck know how to live. And we need to trust that. We can trust that. We can trust it when we die because we have no choice. We should be able to kind of back ourselves against the same kind of urgency as we give way for our bodies to lead us on how to live. That is tapping into the heart space, tapping into your sacral space, healing your root chakra. Root chakra. I want to pronounce that right. Tapping into your womb space as well. Doing everything you can to connect to your body again so that it can lead you. Because your body knows. The body knows. The heart knows. Your soul knows. The truth, everything. It's all right there. Always has been. Always will be. Always waiting for you. In the same, and by the way, I use the terms of the body, the chakras, the womb, all of that interchangeably with ancestors. You can do it as well. Choose whichever line works for you in understanding that either way, you're never alone. The reverse of this card is not true. It's ego work, shadow work. That's doable. That needs to be done. That we've been doing for a long time. So we will get through this. And we will definitely, I'm feeling now randomly to say that life is going to look very different by the end of the year. And if you just keep focused on that, keep your head up, keep hopeful on that idea, you'll be mind blown. Let your life show you. Let your body show you. Let your heart show you. And hey, Carrie, I'm okay. Thank you. I was literally about to end right now. I know that I've been gone for such a long time and I really miss the work of like reading for everyone. So I'll definitely figure out a way to be back this coming week. I'm feeling like I'm gaining more energy to be present for tarot and chills and stuff. Definitely will catch you on one of those this week. I will fully intend on that, focus my energy on it. And yeah, I will